Hello, everybody. Oh, I've got to turn on my microphone. Might be good to do that. You guys are joining the chat. Be sure to ask questions. Hope everybody's doing all right today. My sound should get better in 3, 2, 1. Should be much better now. How about now? Hoops Talk 69. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Hope everybody is doing okay today. I'm just finishing up my coffee that I've been drinking since 7 a.m. this morning. So cheers to everybody out there right before lunch. Hope everybody's hanging in there. There's lots of NBA stuff. Feels like there's a lot about to happen with the NBA, with them coming to an agreement last night. And certainly the salary cap stuff, having the cap and the tax set is a really good thing. That means that teams can really start negotiating. And then the luxury tax stuff is pretty significant, especially when it comes to making a Chris Paul trade. I think that it's helpful, especially for teams that are looking to be in the luxury tax, like the Lakers and the Bucks and also the Warriors. So Hoops Talk 69, yes, we do. We have the cap and tax info. It's there. So that's what we've been waiting for a lot. So, oh yeah, Ben Rector mug. It's a good mug. I really like Ben Rector. I actually know Ben Rector a little bit too from high school. So let's talk a little bit about the my friend Nathan says here, please tell me Presti won't trade SGA. I don't think they'll trade SGA, but we can talk through some scenarios that possibly could make sense if they were to trade him. I don't think it makes sense to. I think that it would feel a little bit like the James Harden trade if they were to trade him for future assets or for unknown assets. Because you got this guy coming off his second year at 20 points per game. I just don't understand why you would even entertain the idea of it at this point. Unless, I mean, certainly the Thunder have watched more of LaMelo Ball than I have. Certainly they have. But man, I just don't see it. I don't see the reason to do that, especially with the Timberwolves. I don't understand how the Thunder complete a trade with the Timberwolves that makes sense for the Wolves and for the Thunder. I just don't see the path. What are they trading for Chris Paul? They don't even have the money to get there for Chris Paul. And if they did, it just doesn't make sense. And then what are we talking? They don't want Steven Adams. They don't want Dennis Schroeder, right? You're not going to play Schroeder next to D'Angelo Russell. They're extremely similar players. Like, ball, give me the ball. I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to create. I just don't see the fit there. And then the Shea for the number one pick stuff is the only logical one that you can jump to. But that's just not enough for Shea. Not in this draft. Not in this draft. I don't get that. Now, the Warriors is a little bit more interesting to me. And I've had a few people bring this up to me on Twitter. Let's see, who was it? Christos Vezeris on YouTube. That's could not be the right way to pronounce that. I'm very sorry. So the idea here is, if you think, and to me, you have to have a lot more knowledge than I do. If you think that LaMelo Ball is going to be a star, and you think that Shea is more of a second-tier star, and you think that he has the chance to be a first-tier star, you could do a deal like this. But to me, you're not only asking for round one, number 2 to OKC, you're saying you got to give us Minnesota as well. Unprotected. To me, that's how you're going to get the deal done. And you can slide Shea into a trade exception, and like, that's the deal, right? Like this is the only deal to me that makes sense. Where you're like, okay, Minnesota's probably going to pick LaMelo, or they're going to pick James. If they pick James Wiseman, like, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Minnesota's not going to be good, right? They're not going to make the playoffs. So you're talking about another lottery pick. So you can draft if maybe they get LaMelo, or I don't know who you like at the spot. Who cares? Like, honestly, who cares who it is? Take him at 2, take whoever it is at 2, Okoro, and I would actually take Okoro at 2. If I were them. Maybe they would. I don't know. But then you have next year's pick, and that's the real kicker. That's the only deal that I think makes sense for them. So yeah, there's that. But otherwise, I'm not trading Shea. But that's kind of a haul for Shea. But he would fit really well with the Warriors. They could win a title with Shea and build around him for years to come. Light years ahead of everybody. Superhero _ says Weaver looks like all the no dunks guys. Could that mean that the Thunder will start drafting shooters? So Will Weaver tweeted out this picture this morning from a YouTube video that he did with some Australian outlet. And he looks like the singer of System of a Down. And he also looks like all of the no dunks guys mashed into one person, which is hilarious. And I saw that Trey Kirby liked that tweet, and which to me confirms it. It's exactly like that. Let's see. Did they say when trades start now that they have the cap and tax info? Yeah, so it's been reported that it would be 2 or 3 days before the draft. So we could be talking this Sunday or Monday is when the transaction window opens, which is exciting. I think some stuff will happen. Why would we be afraid to pay him? Like Lowe said, don't we have to pay somebody? I wouldn't be afraid to pay Shea. I think Shea's going to be very good. I think that's kind of crazy. Penny asks, what kind of haul can we get for Dort, though? Oh, can't trade Dort. I don't know. Dort's contract is so low that I just don't know what you could get. Maybe if you wanted to trade a pick. If you haven't seen any of the mock draft stuff on The Athletic today, is fantastic. I'll just so any of this stuff is so good. I'm not going to click on it because I don't want to undercut my own company. But we have this. John Hollinger has a piece that's super good. You've got to go read that. We've got draft sleepers with Brian Hamilton. We've got this mock draft 4.0 with beat writers 1 through 10. It's very good. There's also a video along with that. And also you can listen to the Daily Ding with me and James Edwards as we talked about the NBA draft as well. So lots of just incredible content on The Athletic this morning. So you should check that out. Go to Down to Dunk. Go to theathletic.com/down2dunk and get it for $1 a week. It's a great deal. Really great stuff. I don't know how to read your name, but why do you never wail on your axe on Twitter like KOC? I don't know. I just feel this feels weird. I could wail, but it would just feel awkward and weird to do it. Sorry, everybody. Dennis and Steven to Boston, said Colin Reed. How do we do that? Let's take a look. I don't know how we do that. I think that Steven would be great in Boston. The Boston people don't think the same thing. I'll say that. They do not think the same way about Steven. They think they don't think it'd be worth it to trade for Steven. Anything with those guys would have to involve Gordon Hayward. So Hayward back to OKC, or you do some kind of 3-team deal, but for sanity's sake, we'll just keep it at 2 teams. And then Dennis, 15. How much closer do we have to get? Player option, Enes Kanter back to OKC. Is that enough? Then have Tice as your backup center. Then you really have your center position. Yeah, success. I guess you'd have to incentivize OKC to do this. And how would you do that? What picks do we like here? 14. I mean, they're going to want to get rid of one of these first round picks. Maybe they give up their own in this draft to get the deal done. It still works. Yeah, I mean, something like that would make some sense. You get these 2 expiring contracts. These guys are better right here, and Dennis and Steven. Although Hayward's good. I think that we tend to think that Hayward's no good. Hayward's good. Okay. Oops, I didn't even add this to the stream. Sorry. Here's the trade I was just talking about. So Hayward, Cantor, first round pick from Boston for Dennis and Steven Adams. I mean, that helps. You don't have to give up Marcus Smart in that deal. I think it makes Boston immediately better, and just a way to spend one of their picks because they have to. The Blue Plunger, how believable is it that SGA gets traded? I have heard no chatter on that at all. I don't think it's unbelievable. I'll say that. I don't think it's something that would just never happen. It would never happen. I don't think that that's true. I don't think it's true that it would never happen. It would have to be for something pretty great, though, and probably as a package for something very good. But I mean, SGA to me would be the number 1 pick in this draft, no doubt, with the knowledge that we have about him today. I don't think anybody in this draft has the for sure ceiling that we're seeing right now. Yeah. Let's see. Should the Thunder draft Reggie Perry from Mississippi State? At 25 seems early, maybe in the second round. Let's see. Dylan Peterson, who's in agreement with Alex on the fact that Chris has to be off the team before the season? I mean, that would be great. I think the Thunder would like to trade him. But the fact is that it's not going to be the easiest thing to do to trade Chris Paul. And it's because he makes a ton of money, and the Thunder will for sure collaborate with him and they have to collaborate with the other teams, but they'll collaborate with Chris to make it happen. I mean, to me, if New York is on his list, great. I think it's easy. I think it's an easy thing to do. And if the Knicks are willing to play ball as well, if the Knicks want Chris and Chris wants to go there, that's the easiest one. Philly is another one that's pretty easy. And you can see him saying yes to Philly. Like, we've done this a billion times. I mean, how many times have you, a Thunder fan, put this trade in the trade machine? I don't want Tobias Harris. I actually think Tobias is kind of helpful to them at this point, more so. I really don't want Josh Richardson. I'd rather have this Mike Scott 1 year expiring, Zaire, and then you could get OKC's pick, the 20th pick, sure, and maybe this is where the Thunder can get Pokusevski, right? Is, hey, we want to trade Chris Paul, great. We really want to get Pokusevski, which I haven't heard directly that that's true. There's enough people talking about it to where you think it would be true. But maybe this gets you there, because he could be there at 20. It's not a guarantee. Maybe this is a deal that on draft night you're like, hey, listen, Sixers, listen, Daryl, we'll trade you Chris Paul on draft night if Pokusevski's there at 20. And the Sixers I'll tell you, the Sixers probably don't want anything to do with Alexei Pokusevski at that point. I mean, this trade, that is a tremendous help to the 76ers. And then if you're the Thunder, yeah, we'll see let's see how Zaire competes with Hamidou Diallo. I know they probably play different positions, but there's kind of similar players. We need to see a lot from Zaire. Mike Scott, he's just there. And then Al Horford just gets to come in and be just real smiley, good-looking big guy. And they'll probably try to build up his value and trade him, is what is likely to happen. So, I mean, it's certainly possible that something like this could happen. But also, I mean, maybe the 76ers aren't on his list. He may be like, yeah, I'm not going to go up there and play with Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey. Like, Daryl just traded me and told me he wasn't going to. And then I've spent a lot of time with Doc, and I really don't want to end my career on a team coached by Doc Rivers. That may be the case. And he's like, nope. Because, I mean, that's his prior general manager and one of his prior coaches. And so, I mean, Chris has left a lot of situations and it hasn't looked super good. And so maybe that's not a situation you'd like to go to. Like Miami, I think they want to hold on to cap space. And we will know before the start of the season if Giannis is going to sign that deal. So maybe this is a deal that you do later on, because they'll have some cap space. And who knows, how do they use their cap space? How does that happen? I mean, they're going to have to do it pretty quick. So they're more of a question mark to me. The Bucks, I just don't really like what the Bucks can offer, because you're going to have to take back Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez combination. I've heard Chris Middleton as a name that's floated around. Like, no, that's how you stay. You want to have Chris Middleton, Chris Paul, and Giannis. I mean, that's what you want. You want a Chris and Giannis team with lots of Chris's. You don't want to trade Chris Middleton, so it has to be like this: Brook Lopez, Eric Bledsoe, Ilyasova. Why? Like, why are the Thunder doing that? I don't like that. I like that for Chris. That's a good spot. But we don't know if Milwaukee's on the list. Is Milwaukee on the list? I don't know. I guarantee the Lakers are on the list. Can you do something that even makes sense there? It's got to be Danny Green. It's got to be like a KCP sign and trade. I'm not interested in Kuzma. Anybody interested in Kuzma? Raise your hand out there if you're interested in Kuzma. Not me. I'm not interested in Kyle Kuzma as a Thunder player. I just don't think. I mean, that he takes minutes from Bays. Like, yeah, no thanks. No thanks. He's going to come here and think he's the freaking king, right? It's just like, no. And then who else is left? I mean, the only guy that I'm really interested in is Talen Horton-Tucker, who's still young, but only mildly interested, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's like the Lakers, to me, they just don't have the juice to get there. What outgoing picks could they trade? I don't even know if these are updated on here, to be honest. But I mean, you want to kick the can as far down the road as you can. 2025 unprotected first rounder. I mean, like, it's got to be something like that. But even so, I'm not super interested in that. So to me, I mean, I would guess the Warriors are on Chris's list. Do the Warriors have the interest in Chris Paul? We talked about Shea earlier, but Chris Paul. I mean, if Chris Paul went to the Warriors in the Wiggins deal that we've discussed before, where you trade Chris Paul there, Wiggins back to OKC, and then, I mean, I would say, yeah, just keep number 2 this year. I would say give us this pick. Give us this. Not this pick, this pick. Give us this pick, this Minnesota pick. Just give that to us. I don't even worry about this year's pick. Don't even worry about it. It's okay. It'll be fine. Then Andrew Wiggins and Kevon Looney back to OKC. And then, I mean, that's a dangerous Warriors team. Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Clay, Draymond. I mean, they're ready to go. They need to sign a big and free agency, but I mean, Pascal will probably play for them. There's still people that like Marquise Chris. I'm a little floored by that. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Maybe give him Mike Muscala too, has got a player option, who's going to pick that up for sure. Okay, that's a nice piece to throw over to them. And then if you're the Thunder, I mean, Wiggins, Tanktown, Gallo's gone. Steven may still be here. Andre's probably gone. Dennis is gone. Like your best. Then we've talked about who's the second leading scorer on the team. Like, it's going to be Shea, and then it's probably going to be Wiggins. And Wiggins could be the leading scorer on the Thunder, on the Tanktown Thunder. So yeah, this all Canadian team could be fun. They're sure to lose tons and tons of games. I don't like bringing Wiggins in because I don't like the habits that he has developed over the years. And to me, if the Warriors did a trade like this, it's saying like, yeah, we're kind of out on Wiggins too. Because look, he's 25 years old. Not old. He's not old. Feels old, not old. And so maybe that's a guy the Thunder think they can rehabilitate and make into a valuable player. I don't see it, but maybe. Ice Cold Al _ says Wiggins is the perfect tank commander. I agree. But yeah. Throw any questions at me that you guys have. I'm gonna try to go here to the chat and see what's out here. Grant Yandel says, assuming the next wave of the players isn't a trade exception for Chris Paul valuable even without picks. I mean, the value would be creating a team that is tanking, and then you get a better pick. So I mean, you're really trading Chris for a better pick in the next draft. Then yeah, like I get it. So I mean, that's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. I would assume though that the Knicks would give up something. You don't just give somebody an All NBA player. We have to remember that he made the All NBA team this year. I don't see Sam Presti as a guy that would just give an All NBA player away. I don't see that happening. But I think the Knicks are a possibility. Let's see. Do you want the Thunder to re-sign Noel on a long-term as a long-term backup and maybe starter if Adams is traded? To me, doesn't really even matter. He's a guy, to me, you would re-sign him just as a guy that you feel like you could trade for maybe a second rounder. I mean, that would be the only reason. He's still pretty young, so I wouldn't. I don't know. To me, I don't really care either way, to be honest. Let's see. To the agreed upon tax and cap numbers, do the agreed upon tax and cap numbers make a CP trade more likely or less likely or no effect? I think it makes it more likely just because it stayed flat and then they added whatever the difference is will be taken out at the end of the year with the luxury tax. I think that helps because it's likely a team that will be in the luxury tax will want to take Chris on. So I mean that's where I would say it makes some sense for sure. Let's see. Warner West 2. Who would be the most likely non-Pokusevski promise from OKC? Good question. Let's go look at the draft board and take a look. Because I think Pokusevski is definitely a Thunder guy. I mean, RJ Hampton is certainly a guy that you feel like the Thunder would make a promise to. Tyrese Maxey, Theo Maledon. I mean, to me, those are names of young guys that have potential in the NBA. To me, those would be the guys. I don't know that they would promise Jaden McDaniels. I don't know that you have to. I think the guy's slipping. He does feel like a Thunder guy, but I just don't like that. Mikey climbs wall. Dennis into the Warrior Iggy trade exception and a pick. I'd be interested to know if they had any interest in Schroeder. I think they should. I thought Dennis defended extremely well. Extremely well. Yeah, and then the pick. Like they're not giving up the number 2. They're not giving up this 2021 Minnesota pick. So I don't know what you want. I mean, you can ask. I mean, I would just kick the can. Maybe you'd ask for their pick next year, lottery protected. Maybe they do that. It'll be in the 20s. Oh no, not that. Not that, everybody. That would be exquisite. If we could make that happen. That's not happening. Oh yeah, I left it in there. I was like, where'd it go? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would do that, right? Lottery protect this pick in case injuries happen again. To protect the Warriors, Dennis Schroeder, you get like the 24th pick in the draft or whatever it would be. Yeah. To me, that's great. That's a great help to the Warriors too. I think that maybe people would. I don't know if people would love the Dennis Schroeder thing for the Warriors, but man, I like that. And then you still have the Andrew Wiggins deal. Then you still have the number 2 pick. That if you wanted to trade those guys in combination, you could still go get somebody. And that's an added depth piece for just nothing. I mean, for just really a shot in the dark for the Warriors for the next draft. I mean, I like that. I've heard awful things about McDaniels from Washington alumni. Oh no. Yeah, he's got a bad attitude. Brandon's maybe heard different things. Ice Cold Al just says he doesn't even care. Doesn't even care. He's got a jumper. He's 6'10". Yeah, I think it's interesting. Tan Newman asks, do you see Shea as a better fit at the 1 or the 2? Is there a good fit or trade in the draft? Good fit to trade or draft, in your opinion? I think you just hold on to Shea and try to figure out what he is. I don't know. To be honest, a lot of people think that he's a primary ball handler. I would like to see more of that. What happened in the playoffs made me feel like maybe he's not. But maybe, I don't know. I still think there's a lot of discovery left for Shea. So I wouldn't limit him in that. But I think that his skill set is where you could go either way. Where if there is a point guard that you like, if there is if they somehow trade for LaMelo without trading Shea, then I think that you probably put him off ball, LaMelo handle, which is kind of a frightening statement if I'm being honest. But then, if you drafted Okoro and you wanted to play Okoro at the guard, you could play him as the lead guard, and Okoro is kind of a secondary ball handler type of guy. So I don't mind that fit. RJ Hampton, kind of similar, where it's who really is a point guard? I have no idea. So I like that. I like the versatility that he brings, for sure. Any chance he lives up to his Spurs legacy and implements a beautiful game in OKC? You're talking about Sam. I think Sam would like to play that way. I think Sam would like to play the beautiful brand of basketball that the Spurs have played. He just hadn't had the players to really do it yet. And this past year was probably the closest thing to it. But there's nothing to me that says that Sam wouldn't like to play that way. And whether it's Will Weaver or whoever they hire as a coach, I think that they would like to have somebody that's creative and will come up with a good offensive sets for the team. So yeah, still waiting on lots and lots of stuff. So we're waiting on a coach to be hired, which could be soon. We're 8 days away from the draft. I would think within these next 8 days we'll know who the coach is, but it's not certain. I honestly still wouldn't stress about it. I wouldn't worry about it at all. We know the cap and tax now, so we have real negotiations happening. Man, I just think there's a lot that's going to happen here in the next coming days with this Oklahoma City Thunder team. Let's see. This will be our last question. This is from YouTube. We have VBZ. How good would a team led by Shea, Dort, Bays, and the 25th pick be next year? Over under wins. So in a 72 game schedule, I think that team would win 25 games. I don't think they're very good. I really don't think that's a good team at all, which is fine, which is the goal. You don't want to be super good. Whoops. You don't want to be super good. Yeah, they're not going to win many games at all. First and second round sleepers that I love. First, I haven't gotten that deep in the second round. If Grant Riller is a second rounder, then I think that dude can really score. If Paul Reed is a second rounder, which he probably is as well, I really like his toughness as a second round pick. Killian Tilly is a guy that McKelly and I've talked about that can really, really shoot it, but it will probably only be able to play 10 games. If Xavier Tillman is a second rounder, like heck yeah, that he's a beast. He's a man. And then as far as first round guys, it's hard to call a first rounder sleeper. Malachi Flynn is going to be a really good player. I think he's super good. He's almost 23 years old though, 6'1", played at San Diego State. The dude can really score. He can defend even at his size. I really like him. I think that he's going to be a really good player. Theo Maledon's a guy that we talked about on Thunder After Dark. So if you want to, you should go to patreon.com/OKC Dream Team and check out what we talked about on Theo Maledon. McKelly and I, that dropped yesterday. I like him as a sleeper at the end of the first round. Pokuševski's a guy that's been talked about. He's not really even a sleeper at this point. But yeah, those are two names that I think those guys will be good and that they'll play in the NBA. Thanks for following along. Hope you guys are doing all right. And we're going to have a special episode for Wednesday for Down to Dunk. So be ready for that. It's going to be great. I think you guys are going to love it. And we'll also be live next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, for the NBA draft. So you guys can join us then as well to just watch the chaos ensue. I think it could be a very crazy night as far as trades and stuff like that go. So have a good one, and we'll talk to you guys again tonight. We'll be live. So join us.